Do I think Microsoft shares will fall as a result of Bill Gates' divorce? That's going to be the topic of today's video. So a lot of people are speculating that with Bill Gates set to divorce his wife Melinda, will it be the case that the Microsoft shares will go down a lot? Now, one of the reasons some people think this is that basically as part of the divorce settlement, it might well be the case that she gets some of Microsoft's shares, then she sells them, so therefore there's an oversupply of shares, because of course Bill Gates still owns a lot of shares in Microsoft, even though of course there are many shareholders in Microsoft. I would say long term it's not going to have any effect whatsoever. I can remember when Steve Jobs died, and people thought, oh, Apple shares are going to go down, and even when he got ill, people said Apple shares were going to go down. It didn't really happen, and obviously long term Apple stocks have just gone higher and higher. The same thing with Microsoft. I don't know what's going to happen in the next week or month, and for that matter, I'm not saying that Microsoft's going to necessarily skyrocket in the next 10 years, but these kind of things are very hard to predict long term. And these days, even though he's still a pretty big shareholder, I think it's very unlikely that this is going to move the markets in the medium term, because even if she sells 100% of the stocks that she's given, it's still a relatively small percent of the total. So in reality, if Microsoft shares do go down, it might just be the speculators are speculating that basically she's going to sell her stake that she's going to get from the divorce. Speculators speculating on what other speculators are speculating about. So I wouldn't really worry too much about this. I think it's unlikely to affect the Microsoft shares, and long term, very unlikely. How can I help you? In two ways. First of all, are you an expat, a high net wealth individual, or just somebody who lives in a part of the world where it's difficult to get access to quality investment solutions? In which case, go onto my website on adamfayed.com and find out more. If you don't fit into any of those categories, then in which case there's a range of free material on my website, on this YouTube channel, and indeed on my Quora, where I get over 200 or have received over 231 million views in the last few years. And finally, if you want to actually read my thoughts in more detail, go onto Amazon and find my book on there.